Welcome back to the Love Your Story podcast. Today we are talking about understanding story archetypes and how that can provide a whole new interpretation of your personal story. Now, I know that sounds a little obtuse, but stick with me for a minute because it's pretty easy to follow along. So today we're getting real with the parts of story, and this is going to be fun. First question, have you ever been blocked? So you're cruising along in life and you're headed toward your goal or something that you really want, and bam, something challenges you. Of course you have. It's a part of everyday life. So let's talk about a perspective shift here on this specific topic. But first, we need a definition. So let me define what is an archetype. An archetype is a recurrent symbol or motif. So in story, there are 7 character archetypes. Carl Jung called the archetypes of story the ancient patterns of personality that are the shared heritage of the human race. His claim is that within the human mind, all 7 of these archetypes are a part of each of us. Sometimes we're the hero, sometimes the mentor, sometimes the herald, the shapeshifter, the threshold guardian, or the trickster. Sometimes we must even deal with the shadow, which is the repressed part of the hero that must be loosed or destroyed or redeemed and turned into a positive force. These are the different types of archetype within story, the ones Carl Jung was referring to. But, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Tune in for our discussion about the troll on the bridge. Stories are our lives in language. Welcome to the Love Your Story podcast. I'm Lori Lee, and I'm excited for our future together of telling stories, evaluating our own stories, and lifting ourselves and others to greater places because of our control over our stories. This podcast is about empowerment and giving you, the listener, ideas to work with in making your stories work for you. Story power serves you best when you know how to use it. As mentioned, there are a handful of archetypes, but today I'm going to delve specifically into the threshold guardian. This is the symbolic troll or knight or witch or voice that challenges your forward journey. So last year I was having an online conversation about how we are the heroes of our own stories, and my high school boyfriend popped into the conversation and made a comment about how sometimes we are also the dragon or the antagonist in another person's story. I'm not sure if there was an ulterior message there in that comment, but this got me thinking about the roles that we play. Sometimes we are the extra sitting at the table in the roadside cafe of someone else's story. And sometimes we are the herald, the one who brings the message or call to adventure to another person, like Gandalf bringing the invitation to adventure for Bilbo. Sometimes we are the mentor, providing inspiration to someone on their journey, providing them with gifts for moving forward, like Yoda did in Star Wars. Always in our own story, we are the hero, but often we play other roles in other people's stories. Sometimes when we're the hero, we are the anti-hero a little bit. It changes as our story unfolds. But the main thing here is that understanding the roles we may be playing in other stories and recognizing the roles that others play in our stories gives us a perspective shift that often is the key to breaking through something or finding a solution or having a little more fun in the creation of our life story. Let me explain what I mean. So, by understanding the parts of story, we can begin to see our lives through different eyes. We can begin to see our stories as real stories, and that makes it sort of fun. I'll give you an example. A couple months ago, I was speaking to an associate who, she just wasn't on her game. And she said, Lori, I'm just thinking that maybe being a realtor isn't for me. It's hard finding clients. The other day, she explained, I was knocking doors for my open house, and the first door I went to was a man who answered, and he acted so put out that I was there that I almost froze up. I walked away and I put the flyers in my car and just quit inviting people. Maybe this just isn't for me. I launched into this concept about archetypes. In story, I explained there are archetypal characters, One of them is the threshold guardian. This is the character that is placed to keep the unworthy from entering. Now, oftentimes this character is a lieutenant of the villain, a naysayer, or an internal demon. Sometimes it's just someone putting up resistance, but their function in story is to test the hero or heroine, so you and me, to see if we are determined enough to gain the prize. These threshold guardians pop up whenever you're headed towards something you want. Always. I told her, this is one of your threshold guardians. How badly do you want to be a realtor? Will you push past the resistance? Thomas Edison said, "I never did anything worth doing by accident, nor did any of my inventions come by accident. They came by work." Unquote. One of the truths about our stories is that as we are writing them, in order to be the hero, we must expect challenge, resistance, and opportunity for growth and learning. That's what the hero's journey is all about. That's how he or she becomes the hero. The threshold guardian will guard the path forward, and the stories you create in your mind about who you are, what you want, what you're capable of, and if you can get there, are going to be what determine whether you make it past the guardians. Once my friend could see that the fear and discomfort that she felt was really a threshold guardian, she could picture it that way, then it ceased to be that she was afraid or that she was inadequate for the job, and instead the resistance became like a hobgoblin who was guarding the treasure, and she had to get creative and work her way around him. And that was something she could work with. Ask yourself, how do I get around this hobgoblin? Whatever it is. So let's say, what resistance are you up against right now in your journey? What threshold guardian is challenging your determination and your forward movement? And do you really want what's on the other side of that resistance? Enough to figure out your way around it. Oh, this can become a game. It can become fun. Instead of getting stuck in frustration, which is the main emotion that's triggered when something stops us in our path. Instead, we can look at it as a hobgoblin, as a threshold guardian, as someone that is testing us to see if we are worthy for what is beyond the other side. So, what do you want really bad right now? Just think about that. And what resistance are you getting to that? What stands in your way? It might be mentally or physically, emotionally, logically, monetarily. There could be all kinds of blocks, all kinds of guardians. And they can even just be caused and created by you. If you were the hero or heroine of a really great movie right now, what creative and crazy interesting things could you implement to make your way past the threshold guardian in your story? Let me give you another example. I'll tell you a story. In the story of the Three Billy Goats Gruff, the mean, ugly troll was the guardian of the bridge. The three billy goats were trying to cross the bridge to get to the hill of green grass to fatten themselves and enjoy the summer sun. In order to do this, they had to cross the bridge. But the troll, the threshold guardian in this case, would stop each one as they tried to pass and threaten to eat them. Well, short story even shorter, the three billy goats worked together in creative, out-of-the-box solution finding, and as the first two small billy goats went to cross the bridge, the troll assaulted them. And the conversation went something like this. Troll: "How dare you cross my bridge? I'm coming to gobble you up." Billy goat: "I'm too small and scrawny, but my big brother is coming along, and he is much fatter, much tastier, and you want to save yourself for him." The troll, enjoying the idea of a large and delightful meal of fresh raw billy goat, let the two smaller billy goat brothers pass by in succession. When the big brother billy goat came trotting along, he didn't go down without a fight. He used his horns and poked out the troll's eyes and crushed his bones to small bits and basically butted him off the bridge for a gory end to that threshold guardian. You thought this was just a fairy tale. But as with all fairy tales, there are actually morals and deeper meanings that teach us how to approach life. In this case, the moral of the story is that threshold guardians are mean, scary, will eat you for dinner, and if you are crafty enough, you can turn the tables. How bad do you want to cross the bridge? Well, get creative then. The word hero comes from a Greek root which means to protect and serve. A hero is born from self-sacrifice, a sacrifice of their comfort, their lives, time, and help for the greater good. That's the definition of the hero. But a hero starts out as all ego, with a shadow side. It's that light and dark in all of us. As he heads out along the hero's journey, he transcends and works one day at a time, one challenge at a time, one dragon at a time, to become the hero that we know he or she is. The shadow archetype is a part of every hero character and in each of us. The shadow, as I mentioned earlier, is the repressed parts of the hero that must be loosed and turned positive, redeemed. Wow, we are so multidimensional. But it's these threshold guardians, among other archetypes, who help the hero along the journey where he conquers the shadow side and becomes deserving of the big prize, the happily ever after, the golden crown. Barbara Bush and Mary Kay Ash are both credited with saying, "When you come to a roadblock, take a detour," unquote. It's all a part of the big story. The challenge, the creative solutions, the persistence, the roadblocks and threshold guardians. So this week's takeaway: if you can see your roadblocks as the archetypal threshold guardians in your story, there to keep the unworthy from entering, there to create challenge and to help you determine how badly you want that green grass and that warm sun at the top of the hill, the challenge can become more of a game and less of a discouragement. It's just a little shift in perspective. Consider your current threshold guardians and the creative solutions to get around them. See how that goes for you this week. Have fun creating your story. And don't forget about the 21-day challenge, now available for you to sign up for on the website, www.loveyourstorypodcast.com. That's my call to action. This 21-day challenge was created to help you test out new story tools every day for 21 days. One story tool every day. You get to try them all out. And then I guarantee you when you get to the end that you will walk away with a handful, maybe 3, maybe 4, but ones that really touched your life, that you felt a significant difference in how it helped you to live and to connect with other people, how it created a difference in your life story. And that's what you get to leave with, ones that you now can implement into your life. So use this 21-day challenge. Definitely sign on. It's $39. You get to it from the website. There's a link up in the menu that says join my 21-day challenge. Go and pass it along, of course. Pass along this podcast, pass along the 21-day challenge to other people who you know who might find value in it, who might need it, who it might bless their life story. Share the love, people. Share the love. I'll see you next week.